Master Li only wants to help people, avoid trouble, and live like a normal man, but every ordinary thing he does starts looking like divine authority to everyone around him. Spoiler warning for chapters 11 through 20. This Chinese manhua follows Li Nianfan, often called Master Li, a transmigrator stuck in a cultivation world with no obvious talent for immortality. Because he believes he is just a harmless mortal, he treats miracles like practical skills, hospitality like common manners, and terrifying spirit beings like everyday problems. The joke is that cultivators, demons, elders, and mysterious visitors keep seeing something far bigger behind him, even when Master Li himself has no idea how deeply he is shaking their world. Chapter 11 opens with a funeral for Madame Chen, and the mood is already heavy because the mourners believe a kind woman has died after helping someone else through a difficult childbirth. Master Li hears the story and immediately notices that the timing feels wrong. Madame Chen was fine only a few days earlier, then suddenly collapsed, and now everyone is ready to seal the coffin. When his dog reacts and Master Li sees signs that she may not truly be gone, he interrupts the ceremony. The elders and doctors resist him because they think there is no pulse and no chance left, but Master Li insists on checking for himself. With simple tools, careful observation, and a treatment that looks almost mystical to the crowd, he brings Madame Chen back to breathing. The chapter turns grief into stunned relief, while Master Li bluntly points out that blind superstition almost buried a living woman. After that life-saving shock, chapter 12 moves into a broader journey. The focus shifts from an indoor conversation with a red-haired woman and a serious dark-haired figure to a brown-haired young man traveling outside. He carries himself like someone following an urgent errand rather than a random stroll, and soon he meets several companions, including a small silver-haired girl, older robed men, and a small white animal-like companion. Their path takes them through streets, gates, wooded areas, and estate-like courtyards, building the feeling that they are entering someone else's territory. The tone darkens when a stern black-robed figure appears with green, ominous energy around him. The group does not fully clash in a readable way, but their shocked reactions make one thing clear: Master Li's world is now pulling outsiders, warnings, and dangerous spiritual pressure closer to his peaceful orbit. Chapter 13 slows down into a dialogue-heavy exchange between the brown-haired young man, a black-haired young woman in dark clothing, and a pale or blue-haired woman shown in elegant robes. The exact words are hard to confirm, but the emotional shape is clear. The young man reacts with nervous surprise, the black-haired woman grows increasingly tense, and the pale woman seems important enough to be introduced, remembered, or discussed with serious weight. Comedic reactions keep the scene light, but the imagery keeps cutting towards something darker: a shadowed figure, ominous background panels, and a glowing white-robed presence that feels like a memory, legend, or explanation of power. By the end, the young man seems more energized and determined, while the others remain worried. The chapter works like a bridge, turning scattered travel into a deeper mystery tied to hidden figures and uncertain loyalties. Chapter 14 follows the traveling group into a village or market area, where the setting becomes more grounded and comedic. The brown-haired young man in blue robes appears to take the lead while his companions, including a white-haired elder-like figure and younger allies, watch the locals and try to understand the atmosphere. They reach an inn or public lodging, where villagers and patrons gather around them with curiosity and confusion. The middle of the chapter turns chaotic when a monkey-like creature becomes part of the scene, creating exaggerated reactions around food, crowds, and the group's attempt to keep things under control. The comedy matters because it shows how unstable this world feels around Master Li's extended circle. Even a stop for rest can turn strange fast. Near the end, the group regathers outside, and a dark-hatted man appears, quietly setting up a more serious encounter ahead. Chapter 15 pushes the story into sect politics. The brown-haired young man finishes a casual exchange with a young woman in purple and white, then moves alone through a mountain setting toward a more formal confrontation. Several elders begin debating him, with a white-haired elder seeming more open and a stern black-robed elder taking a more skeptical or hostile stance. The young man is watched, questioned, and judged as if his value has become a public issue. Soon, disciples gather in a courtyard, turning the dispute into something closer to a sect-wide test or announcement. The young man speaks with surprising confidence, and the crowd's reactions swing from confusion to shock. Then a dramatic display strikes a structure or roof, suggesting that a technique, heavenly sign, or sudden power has entered the argument. By the end, the older figures are no longer treating this as ordinary talent assessment. Chapter 16 brings the comedy back with one of the clearest misunderstandings yet. Master Li and two attendants are trapped under shelter by a sudden heavy rainstorm. To him, the problem is embarrassingly simple: he forgot his umbrella, and the downpour is inconvenient. But his followers hear his complaint like a command from a hidden supreme being. Panic spreads, lightning-like force ripples over the forested estate, and spirit-like figures react as if the weather itself has offended the wrong person. Then the sky clears. Master Li is startled because he worries his tiny complaint may have somehow bothered the heavens, while everyone else treats the sunshine as proof that his displeasure reshaped nature. That misunderstanding becomes a new mission. His companions decide they must prove themselves by hunting demons for him, choosing a tiger demon king as their target while the beast ominously senses death drawing near. Chapter 17 begins almost like a travel interlude. Several young cultivator-like companions gather outdoors in the forest, pause their journey, prepare food, and share a meal together. The panels linger on bowls, dishes, supplies, and reactions, making the group feel temporarily safe in bright natural scenery. A pale or light-haired character speaks with the others, and the group continues through mountains, water, and forest paths. But the manhua quickly reminds us this is still a cultivation world where calm never lasts. A dramatic aura or movement effect flashes around one character, and the chapter cuts into sharper danger. Tall trees are sliced apart by fast, almost invisible strikes. A barefoot figure steps through the grass, and two shadowy beings watch from the darkness. The exact attacker is unclear, but the tonal shift is unmistakable: their journey has crossed into predatory territory. Chapter 18 turns that forest danger into a direct confrontation. A dark presence watches from among the trees, then a large white fox-like spirit beast rushes forward. Its anger is focused on a young man carrying a weak pink-haired girl on his back. The beast calls him a hateful mortal and reveals why it is so furious. The girl survived a catastrophe, but her lifeline was damaged so severely that she may have only a short time left. The fox-like creature treats the pink-haired girl as its sister, and it believes the man is responsible for the transformation and suffering that put her near death. In its mind, payback must come before grief finishes its work. The result is a tragic misunderstanding, because the young man appears to be carrying and protecting her, while the fox spirit sees only the cause of her doom. Chapter 19 opens indoors with a red-haired woman speaking intensely, her posture and expression suggesting challenge, accusation, or urgent negotiation. Other figures enter the conversation, including a white-haired elder-like man and another refined-looking person, making the scene feel like a council or dispute. Then the chapter erupts into a massive glowing phenomenon. Bright streaks and lightning-like blasts cut across the sky and strike the ground, with distant figures shown near the impact to emphasize how dangerous the event is. After that spectacle, the tone returns to something personal. A dark-haired young man speaks indoors with the pink-haired girl, and their exchange mixes emotion with comedic embarrassment. He looks shocked or distressed, while she reacts with surprise and energy despite her condition. The ending moves outside again, where robed figures meet in a forest and a long-haired man appears as the next important presence. Chapter 20 brings the reverence around Master Li to a new level. A red-haired official-looking visitor, addressed as Auditor Li in the Visible Clues, speaks with cultivator-like companions and older figures about the young man in blue. Their entire posture says caution. They are not visiting a neighbor, they are approaching someone they believe may be beyond their understanding. At Master Li's residence, he calmly hosts them while the pink-haired girl stays nearby. The visitors read profound meaning into his ordinary manners, and every polite exchange seems to deepen their fear and respect. One older man becomes overwhelmed, while another visitor offers payment or a purse before preparing to return to the palace. Master Li accepts with embarrassment, thinking the amount is too much. Then he plays a stringed instrument, and the music manifests as a massive golden dragon-like aura, ending the chapter with everyone else's suspicions looking terrifyingly justified. These 10 chapters sharpen the central joke and the central danger at the same time. Master Li is funniest when he believes he is solving small mortal problems, stopping a mistaken funeral, complaining about rain, hosting visitors, or playing music. But the world around him responds as if he is issuing commands to heaven, judging sects, and revealing divine law. That gap creates comedy, but it also creates momentum. More factions, spirit beasts, elders, officials, and mysterious women are now circling him. The pink-haired girl's condition adds emotional urgency, while the fox spirit's rage adds a tragic misunderstanding. By chapter 20, the question is no longer whether people will notice Master Li. The question is how many powerful beings will misread his kindness before one of them starts a war in his name. That is the recap for chapters 11 through 20. Subscribe for the next part, where Master Li's ordinary life keeps colliding with cultivators who are absolutely convinced they have met a hidden supreme being.